Fitz-Gerald Group Principal. Keith, welcome. Good to have you with us. As you look at this sell-off that we've been seeing and the rise in yields that we've been seeing, I guess the two are somehow connected, but what do you make of the sell-off that has taken us down 1,500 points or so from Dow 40,000?
Well, honestly, not a whole heck of a lot. This is just deleveraging. It's classic. It's highly technical. There are a lot of people, Tyler, that missed out on the Nvidia run, along with a lot of other AI. So some nasty grams, some nastiness wouldn't be unexpected because they want to buy back in at lower prices.
So you think this is sort of a technical pullback, I guess is how I would describe it.
I do. I think it's very much a technical pullback. It's something that should be talked about a lot more, but it's not. And the average retail investor is left wondering what happened. But really, this is the big guys just scrumming around in the middle of the field, stay on the sidelines, let it work itself out, but buy intelligently, continue to play offense, because that's how you win.
So you see this as basically a buying opportunity, and you see it continuously, and have, to your credit, as a buying opportunity in Nvidia, which you think can go much higher from here.
Oh, you're very kind to remember that. Thank you. Yeah, we've been tracking that one for a long time. This is a tough business.
I'm kind to remember because you reminded me.
Well, we started tracking this thing at 150.
It's all fair, man.
Everybody thought we were bananas to say it's going to go to 1,000 and split. But yeah, I think it goes to 2,000, 2,300, and here's why. We've got 60, 70% margins. They're trading at a forward PE of 30. I think the company's going to track to 45, 50 on that side. So it's not hard to get to that $2,000 number. Now, post-split, that's 200, 230. But this is unprecedented in human history, and demand is just scorching everything we know about how supply chain works. Every company on the planet will adapt, adopt, or die. They're the clear band leader here.
You're right to take a victory lap here, Keith. Absolutely. You were talking about this. At some point, I'm going to say, why are you even you must have enough to go to a desert island somewhere, enjoy a margarita, and just call it a day. You don't have to come talk to us. But what I was going to say about sort of speaking of incredible moves, if you're right that Nvidia goes to 2,000 or 2,300 from here, it's going to be a $5 or $6 trillion company. Do you think that's plausible?
Yeah, I do. I not only think it's plausible, I think it's absolutely possible and likely. Again, the thing that is amazing to me, and we talk to investors all over the world about this, is people continue to think about AI as a technology. It is potentially the greatest technology of all time. And companies like, it's not just Nvidia, it's AMD, it's Apple, it's Microsoft. Apple in particular, I think we're going to find out very shortly, has been far more involved in AI than the public knows. And they're getting ready to unleash what I think is going to be another iPhone moment. So it's not just Nvidia, but we've got to be careful here.
Keith Fitz-Gerald, the principal of the Fitz-Gerald Group, which provides consulting services to professional wealth managers, said in a recent CNBC interview that he sees Nvidia becoming a $5 or $6 trillion company soon, simply because the demand for its chips, which power generative AI offerings, is nowhere near slowing down. He also said that the recent pullback is a great buying opportunity, and he's not the only one bullish on the chipmaker. Recently, Bank of America raised its price target on Nvidia stock to $1,500 from $1,320, implying an upside of nearly 40%. The bank laid out a very interesting bull case for Nvidia stock, and we're going to tell you all about it in today's video. Additionally, we'll give you our opinion on Nvidia stock now, and whether we think it's a buy or not at its current price. But first, if you want to keep up with Nvidia's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates. Now, back to today's video.
We're going to get to some trending tickers we are watching this morning. We got to start with the big guy here, Nvidia. Those shares are up a little over 3.5% this morning after the company announced new AI chips. Bank of America moving on this news, raising their price target on the stock to $1,500 a share. That is up from $1,320, and this is now the highest call on the street. Now, Shauna, not only getting news from Nvidia this morning, AMD also announcing a new chip at this tech conference this week. And AMD is kind of the closest thing NVIDIA has to a competitor, but I just pulled this stat that shows how far ahead NVIDIA is from AMD. They grew sales by $100 billion in AI chips in the past year. AMD is expected to do $4 billion. So you really can't compare. That's 1/25th in terms of the comparison.
Exactly. You talk about just the sheer dominance that NVIDIA has had over the market up until this point, and you talk about the new chips, what they have in the pipeline. Clearly, a lot of excitement surrounding what we heard from Jensen Huang over the weekend, and that's why you're seeing NVIDIA, once again, a stock that had already been up 120+% heading into the weekend, up another 3.5% to 4% here today. So you talk about that runway for growth, and I think a lot of that optimism was reflected in this new price target that we're getting out here from Bank of America earlier this morning, 1,500. That's up from 1,320. And why? Well, they're bullish here just in terms of where we are in the sector. They're still saying that we're early in the cycle here for the sector. AI tailwinds and solid free cash flow. They see near term, it might be a bit stretched, but the semiconductor cycle has legs for another 12 to 18 months. So again, when you take into account that 1,500 call, that's about 37% upside from where we are today. So still many analysts on the street remaining extremely bullish on this name. You can see investors clearly getting excited by some of the announcements that were made over the weekend. And still, it just really shows that we are maybe, in fact, in the very, very early innings of the AI adoption cycle and the AI investment cycle when it even comes to some of those CapEx trends as well.
Bank of America raised its price target on Nvidia stock right after CEO Jensen Huang's keynote ahead of the Computex annual Computer Expo in Taiwan over the weekend. The bank said that key product announcements continue to bolster Nvidia's AI leadership position, highlighting the new GB200 NVL2 platform and the MGX modular reference design platform. Analysts also said another important thing is the fact that Nvidia is now eyeing millions of GPU-sized clusters for large hyperscalers as early as 2026, paving the way for greatly increased unit opportunities. In addition to that, Nvidia is also eyeing mainstream and enterprise AI use cases with its smaller NVL2 and modular MGX platforms. Overall, Bank of America sees Nvidia's multi-generational roadmap visibility and breadth of its portfolio as key growth drivers. Finally, the analysts said that they continue to believe that Nvidia's turnkey system design could sustain 80% and more market share in AI accelerators and generate sustained growth in networking, pointing out that Ethernet switch will already ramp to multi-billion dollars within a year. And with potentially faster Blackwell adoption amid increased mainstream AI, the bank sees potential EPS power of $50 and more within 2 years. This is extremely significant for Nvidia, as Wall Street analysts expect the company to report an EPS of $23.51 by the end of the current fiscal year. So Bank of America is saying that it's sitting in earnings upside of 112% or even more. That's the opinion of Bank of America, but many big names on Wall Street think that Nvidia stock can go even higher. In fact, after the company's recent Q1 results, more than 20 brokers increased their price targets for the chip designer. But do these new analyst targets, most of which are above the current share price, mean the stock's a buy today? Let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Investocracy.
They're moving now at a clip at NVIDIA. I mean, I'm curious to get your thoughts, given how you've watched their product cycles through the years. But each year now or more, we're going to get an introduction of a new chip, or at least the idea of a new chip before the existing chip we just heard about has even hit the market?
Well, so that's right. So we've known for a while that NVIDIA is moving to an annual product cadence. This is faster than what they did before. They used to be on, call it a 2 to 3 year cycle. They are moving to an annual cycle. Now, we've known that, and they've now given us a tease of some of the products that are coming year over year over year on that full year cycle. And again, it was just a tease at this point. To your point, we've just really learned details about the current next generation, which is called Blackwell. And that hasn't even really started shipping yet. That's kind of like a second half of this year. But we've got a bit of a tease on what's coming next. But yes, they are clearly moving to an annual cadence.
And is it enough to make you believe they will continue to maintain their unrivaled position?
Well, so it's funny. So you go look at AMD. So AMD is now apparently on an annual cadence as well, right? Yep. I would argue just given the differences in scale, it's going to be harder for AMD to do that. I mean, but they probably have no choice given the acceleration and the roadmaps that NVIDIA has done. And again, you can look at some of the announcements that AMD made. So they've got a new one coming out. I think it's the one end of this year. It's called the MI325, which is basically a version of their current part, which is called the MI300, but it's got more high bandwidth memory. Okay. That may put it a little closer to NVIDIA, what's called, there's too many code names here, but it'll put it closer to the H200, but I don't think it will yet be competitive with Blackwell, which is what NVIDIA will be launching around the same time. And we'll have to see how AMD can compare, but it's going to be a tough thing for AMD to keep up. But clearly they're going to have to try, and they're going to do their best. They're doing them.
There's no question that the world is beating a path to NVIDIA's door, as every major cloud service provider uses NVIDIA's GPUs to train and run AI apps. Additionally, Jensen Huang noted in the company's Q1 earnings press release that beyond cloud service providers, generative AI has expanded to consumer internet companies and enterprise, sovereign AI, automotive and healthcare customers, creating multiple multi-billion-dollar vertical markets. And these companies are buying NVIDIA's chips too. In other words, it's not just tech giants like Microsoft, Alphabet, and Amazon that are flocking to NVIDIA. And Huang even said in the company's Q1 earnings call that between 15,000 and 20,000 startups are NVIDIA customers, calling the list of companies quite extraordinary. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and xAI, put it best when he said that there's currently nothing better than NVIDIA hardware for AI, and this is why NVIDIA could keep its momentum for years to come. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
I don't know what, Blackwell Ultra or Rubin or anything will do in terms of actual numbers at this point. But they will clearly be more, right? With every generation, NVIDIA has been pretty good at ramping up the performance up pretty materially. With AMD, again, the same thing. I don't know exactly what. I think they said the MI350, which is what they have coming in 2025, it was supposed to be 35 times better inference performance than the MI300. Again, you don't exactly know what that means in practice. Those are sort of marketing numbers. The performance will be better, though, presumably, and I guess the MI400 in 26 will be even better. How they will compare versus what NVIDIA will be shipping, that's right, I don't think we know yet. But the gap is still reasonably wide right now, and again, NVIDIA's probably got more resources to put against this. AMD's they're gonna do their best. I'm not saying they're not doing well for what they are, but at the same time, it is a tough race to fight, I think.
NVIDIA's past and current success doesn't guarantee future success, but the biggest reason why the company, and in turn, the stock, could keep the momentum going for years to come is its pace of innovation. Jensen Huang pointed to NVIDIA's one-year rhythm in the Q1 call, meaning that the company expects to launch new and improved AI chips every year. While there's no shortage of rivals trying to take market share away from NVIDIA, it's going to be very difficult for them to keep up with the GPU makers' speed in delivering new technology. NVIDIA will launch its Blackwell platform later in 2024. Blackwell's architecture will support 4 times faster training of generative AI models with 30 times faster inference than NVIDIA's H100 GPUs. The platform will also have a 25 times lower total cost of ownership than the company's Hopper chips. No other chipmaker has technology that matches Blackwell, and Huang promised that more powerful chips would follow rapidly after Blackwell, as the company recently announced its Rubin platform, set for a 2026 release. NVIDIA could keep its momentum going by continually building better mousetraps. If it can do so, the world will continue beating a path to its door. But investors should keep in mind that while it will be difficult for competitors to beat NVIDIA, it's not impossible. For instance, although Elon Musk is a fan of the company's GPUs, he also predicted on X last year that NVIDIA will not have a monopoly on large-scale training and inference forever, and he might be right in the future. Additionally, the demand for AI chips is expected to slow down eventually, and if something like a sudden, major economic downturn happens, companies might be forced to slash their technology investments, and maybe AI won't deliver enough return on investment to justify the costs. These are all valid concerns, and if any of these scenarios play out, NVIDIA's momentum would definitely be thwarted. But this won't likely happen anytime soon, and while investors should keep these concerns in mind, they shouldn't be worrying about them now. We think that Nvidia will remain the king of the AI world, at least through the end of this decade and probably beyond. So, if you're an investor who wants to capitalize on the growing AI market, Nvidia might be a great stock for you. But what do you think about Nvidia stock? Is it a buy at the current price? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. And don't forget to tell us what your valuation for Nvidia is. If you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.